Hey guys, welcome back. Thanks again to everybody who's given me some great feedback and watched my videos so far. I've had a couple of requests from people who wanted to know if I had any ideas or if I had experience with the Wing Chun kicks. As everybody out there is, I'm always learning, I'm always trying to improve myself, and even if I don't have a training partner to practice Chi Gerk or to really get down the feeling for the leg attacks, the movement, I always try to find something that can help me at least get very close and at least mirror the motion so that I can ingrain that motion in my body and have some type of resistance. So today I'm wearing 5-pound, 2.5 kilo ankle weights to represent some type of resistance so that I can practice the muscle tension and forward motion with resistance. I've seen a number of videos out there where people have a specific kicking form for Wing Chun. Obviously I was not around when Wing Chun was first invented or throughout its very long history of development, but I'm of the belief that if there is something you can do that can help you improve, even if it's just one section of your Wing Chun, by all means, give it a shot. If it doesn't work for you, if you feel that it's helping you build bad habits, then you don't use it, of course. For me, when I don't have a training partner available, or when Sifu is not available, right now, by the way, I'm training thanks to the kind-heartedness of my Sifu Gerk.wmv here in Munich. KKS3K.de is his website. You're more than welcome to come and train. He does speak English, but it's predominantly in German here in Munich. So without further ado, I'll show you how I tend to practice, or at least get the feeling, or try to ingrain the feeling of the leg kicks, preparation for leg kicks, and the resistance that your legs need to kind of build. With the leg kicks and with kicking in general, in any art, whether it's Taekwondo, Karate, Thai boxing, etc., it always comes from a solid base, a solid stance. So the first thing you probably want to do is get into your standard Wing Chun fighting stance, which is both legs are on an angle. Your front leg, or your front foot, is placed in front of your body with your front knee in a position where it's technically protecting the groin. In case somebody comes, you just lift the knee up and your groin is protected. And of course you can move forward and perform all of your attacks. But with the stance, as with all of my videos that you may or may not have seen, if you haven't seen them, I suggest you take a quick look. In all of my videos, you've always probably heard me, or at least you should have heard, my emphasis on the stance, my emphasis on balance, my emphasis on the stance as being the primary energy that helps you become mobile, get into the right position to, of course, use your hands, your arms, your elbows, your shoulders, your head for the attack. Your stance is what helps you keep your balance, maintain your balance, be able to move out of or into position for striking the upper body blows or even that lower body blows. Your stance allows you to get into a position to use your knee, apply pressure to their leg, keep them in place, bring them down to the ground, etc. But it all comes from the stance. It all comes from your center of gravity, being in a position where you're not off balance, you have very good balance, but yet with your feet a little slightly closer together than horse stance or boxer stance where it's 50-50, you have much more mobility. And as my Sifu always stresses on me, the closer your feet are together, when you do have your forward motion, the further you can move. If I already have my legs spread out in a 50-50 stance, slightly wider, I can only go here because my body's weight, my center of gravity, is not distributed in a manner that allows me to take a larger step. Whereas if my feet are closer together, my front leg can go all the way up here, and I can let the rest of my body follow. Of course, my upper body will be performing whatever technique or whatever block, whatever strike needs to be performed while I'm taking a forward step. But it's forward energy. It is a smaller, sort of more compact stance the kicks, when you think about the kick, if I kick and I don't have, and either my feet are too wide apart, where I don't have the balance, I don't have the center of gravity in a position where I can just lift my front leg up and not even move the rest of my body and just throw a kick. If I'm in a really wide stance, I have to shift my weight, kick. So the thing about Wing Chun is you want to keep your body and keep your stance, keep your feet in a position where you can lift one leg, predominantly your front leg, because it's closer to your opponent. You always use the tool that is closest to the opponent. You want to be able to use your tool without obstructing or without affecting the rest of your body. So you want to be able to lift up your leg without using the rest of your body. You have, all the way down is on my rear leg. So how you do that is your body structure, of course, needs to be in alignment, and through the practice of the Silden Tao, the first form of Wing Chun, and the practice of stepping, you will develop a straight structure. All of your spine, your head is slightly back, your chin is slightly in, so that your back is essentially straight down. All of your bones are in alignment, and they're in alignment with your hip. Now the hip is generally, when you're standing up straight, your hip is generally swiveled this way. With Wing Chun, you swivel your hip slightly this way, so that your bones can again be in alignment, and then it's in alignment with your rear leg straight down, so that again, my head, my neck, my shoulders, my spine, my hip, and my rear leg are essentially all in alignment. It may not be a straight line down, but it is all in alignment, so that all the gravity that's being pulled down is not affecting this post. I can lift this leg up essentially without affecting the rest of my body. So I add these weights on again to help me focus on forward motion and help me ingrain more of what would be a resistance, somebody else's leg sort of pushing against mine. And of course, working the muscle tone and so on and so forth. But how I generally start is I'm in a stance, my hips are slightly rotated forward, not too much, because then that affects the spine, but just enough to give my body that structure. And I start by just first focusing on the knee, as if the knee is pivoting, but it's moving forward, okay? The knee is essentially moving forward or moving forward, okay? And with that weight, what it allows me to do is, it allows me to focus on the knee doing the lifting, but at the same time having enough tension in the part of the leg that's the knee down to the toes, so that it's still bent. There's still resistance, there's still tension here. So this isn't limp. This isn't, if I were to just lift my knee up and let this limp, it would fall straight down. But I have it so where I can actually tense the muscles enough to where I have a slight bend in my knee. My knee is what is doing the lifting, but the lower portion of my leg is also doing some lifting, also practicing against a resistance force. So you practice that. And of course, you don't need to use weights at first. You just want to kind of feel the motion, and then slowly you add on some weights. I can go up to 10 pounds, sometimes more. I put these on, and then another 10 pounds when I really want to have some resistance. But you have to be careful not to break your form, because then you're, of course, building bad habits. And with bad habits, you'll never really get better. You want to practice good habits. So, once you are confident and comfortable with using your knee, sort of like there's a string from the ceiling that's just pulling your knee up while not obstructing your balance, pulling your knee up, then you can work on the different types of kicks, whether it's a forward kick, a snap kick, if you will, whether it's what would be considered like a bong sao or a tan sao, and then kick, or whether you want to block some of the kicks here, you block here, and then you kick to the outside leg. You can do all of that with or without weight. It's much more difficult with weight, because as you extend your leg all the way out, that force, the gravity that extra weight has, is of course trying to pull you down right there. So it helps you reposition your balance here but it's difficult. It's not easy. And you know, again, it's more important to focus on the form, to focus on your balance, to focus on your structure, than it is in the beginning to focus on, you know, having a fast kick and getting out there and making all these noises. It's much more important to ingrain in your body how it feels, because how it feels is what's going to drive you not even thinking about it. You know, if you know just automatically how it feels, you'll A, be able to just immediately, based on knowing how somebody's pressure feels against you, be able to react, because it's based on feeling, it's not based on thinking. And you will also be able to, based on feeling, if I know that somebody has force here, I know that I can, you know, just based on feeling, my body will know, okay, I can go to this position. That's all based on sort of that ingrained repetition, ingrained focus and concentration on what I am doing, to the point where it's just second nature. You don't need to think about, oh, okay, from balls out, and I can do PPs, and I can do this, or, you know, from tense out, I can push down and then punch from the outside and come in and punch again. If you've done it so many times, you have that feeling ingrained, you have that focus, that it just becomes second nature. So this is essentially how I just practice, just feeling part of it, so that when I am practicing with somebody who's not as good as me, somebody who is as good as me, somebody who's better than me, you know, the absolute master, I know how, for me, it should feel, whether the guy's tall, whether the guy's small. I know how, for me, it should feel. I know that from all of the times that I've focused, that it's my knee doing the lifting. I still have tension, slight tension in the front part of my foot, and it is always forward tension, so that if, for example, somebody tries to kick from this side, and all of a sudden switches it up and kicks from this side, I know that my forward tension, because it's my knee doing the lifting, not my foot doing the lifting, I know that I can change my direction, step forward, and then I'm essentially in a position to perform my attack. So just as a final reminder, we want our body to be in alignment so that we can maintain our structure, maintain our balance, maintain our center of gravity. We want to have the hip slightly shifted forward so that it allows us to have that bone alignment, to solidify our structure and allow us to move this other limb without obstructing, without affecting the rest of the body. Practice, you know, block here, so we were to try to kick into the groin. You can practice a block forward in case, I don't know, they bring their knee up, you bring your knee up, and you basically block right here, and you're confident you can step forward. You can practice changing the motion. And, you know, again, with added weight, it makes things much more difficult, but as long as you're focusing on what you're doing, focusing on position, feeling, motion, and you do it slow, so that you can sort of etch it into your mind. It just gets etched into your body after so many times doing it. It's just automatic. And you can practice shifting stance. You can practice going higher. And, you know, of course, Wing Chun is predominantly keeping square with your opponent so that you can apply both limbs, not like a boxer stance where one limb is longer than the other. You want them essentially square with your opponent so that you have access to both limbs. So you keep square, maintain balance, focus. And of course, when you're talking to somebody else or trying to demonstrate something, it doesn't always work out. Maintain balance, it's all maintain structure, it's all straight. You practice with your hands forward. You can practice in your standard Wing Chun stance if you want. And that's the use of weights to help you develop the forward knee motion for the kicks. And also, I mean, all of this pertains to stance, all of this pertains to motion, all of it pertains to movement, forward pressure, but it's with the use of weights to help you ingrain when you don't have a training partner, or somebody who can really help you, helps you. Just think about it. Try to feel where where the gravity is pulling you down, and then see how your body can readjust. Just readjust. You can, knock yourself off balance and then try to readjust. Readjust. And you don't need to stop your foot down. You want to make it so that it's a slow yet fluid motion, and you want to kind of build it so that you could start off with it in an off balance position and regain your balance. And of course, with the forward moving pressure from your knees, from your elbows, etc., with that forward moving pressure, you will be going into your opponent. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope it helps you in some way. These weights, you buy them on eBay, you can buy them in any type of sports store that actually has, weightlifting equipment or yoga equipment. They have wrist weights for when women want to practice yoga or some men want to practice yoga. You strap onto your wrist. I often use these also for having the practice against down pressure, and also that it's not necessarily in my here that I'm trying to distribute all of the force and absorb that weight while at the same time, performing a tan sao or performing a wu sao or a jump sao or any of these motions, even bong sao. But you have to be careful with the weights. You don't want to hurt your shoulder. So I would start off with a lighter weight, just have it on your wrist so that you can practice what the tension feels like by having a specific force here, drawing down or drawing, in is a little bit more difficult, but drawing down, how you practice that bong sao, of course, keep square, and just have that weight there, and then switch it to a tan sao, and see how the pressure changes, and then tries to draw you down. So that's the use of weights to sort of practice. I just demonstrated, the legs, in preparation for the kicks. And you can also switch it up for your wrists, for the tan sao, bong sao, jump sao, and different types of arm movements to demonstrate the weight and the gravity for trying to force you down, and you trying to not overcome it, but use that energy to then distribute it back to the person. Again, I hope you appreciated this video. I look forward to seeing you next time on my next video, and may you be well.